Hello, friends. Welcome to another Stamp With Me Tuesday. Tonight, we're doing a super easy card making technique, paper crafting, rubber stamping technique, whatever you want to call it. It is called the Bargello. I think that's how you pronounce it, Bargello, but I think it's Bargello technique. It comes from quilting, and it is perfect for using up scraps of pattern paper, or you could do it with cardstock as well. So welcome to everyone who is here and joining me live. Hello, Lisa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're here and joining me live, let me know if you have tried your hand at quilting. I'd love to hear about it. If you're watching the replay, I want to know that as well. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you have tried quilting before. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Heidi with Oni Go Stamping, and I'm going to help you reconnect with your inner artist by using stamps, ink, and paper to make beautiful handmade cards and gifts, just like we're going to do tonight. Lisa, you are not too late. We're just starting. Jean, you don't quilt. All right. Hello, Julie from Toledo. You've always been afraid of the Bargello pattern in fabric or paper. Well, I don't know about fabric, but in paper, soup's easy. Super, super easy. Oh no, your AC broke down today. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Susan. You probably don't want to hear about how the weather is beautiful at my house and like 70 degrees. All right, I'm going to make my workspace look just a little bit bigger so that we can talk about the products that I'm going to use tonight before we get started. This is the Gathering Moments bundle, and it is brand new. It's going to be in the new catalog. So Syl just talked about quilting. Anna just asked if the new catalog is available yet. So I do have new catalogs. I have mailed some out if you requested them from me. You hopefully should have gotten one. If not, let me know. Send me an email. I can send you one. I do have some here. They will be going live on September 3rd. So next week, coming up quick, next week, Wednesday. But the Gathering Moments bundle is in there, or suite, which is what I'm using tonight. And I love this. We're going to use this for the October online card class as well. So you'll see a lot of this next month. But a little sneak peek. So cute. So I'm going to use that. And the Gathering Together Designer Series paper. This paper is so, so pretty. Don't worry. I'm not cutting into these giant sheets. They are 12 by 12 sheets. They have gorgeous leaves on them. And you can see from the shininess of it, it has champagne foiling. So this is the side with all the foiling on it. It's got foiling on all of these. Well, yep, on all of these. So like the veins and the leaves and the stripes and the plaids and everything. Oh, they're so pretty. And then the back, we have some basic patterns in, what do I want to say? In Cajun Craze, Basic Beige, and then Early Espresso. And I love this one. Look at this. This has little, you see it? It's just like circle-y dots. I don't know. I thought that was really fun. Really cute stuff. So that's what I'm using tonight to do this. It looks like my camera went a little bit wonky. I must have hit it. So let's talk about what you're going to need tonight. Now, I suggest using a 6x6 piece of white cardstock. You could use a little bit smaller piece as well, but I like to start big and then cut it down. And then I have a whole bunch of strips of pattern paper. You could do these all the same width. I like to kind of mix it up into different widths. So these are all from about 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. All right, and I have a whole bunch of those in different colors. And then I like to use adhesive sheet. You could use glue instead, but we'll talk about why I like to use adhesive sheet. And then we have some other pieces that we're going to come in with later, which is another piece of white. And again, this you could cut to a different size. This one is 3 3/4 by 5. A piece of Cajun Craze that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have my Early Espresso card base. Let's get going with this technique. Now, I do like to use adhesive sheet for this because you could use glue, like a green glue. And actually in the past, I have before taken like a sponge and then sponged out the green glue all over the piece of cardstock. That will work. The big thing is you really want to get adhesive on the whole piece of cardstock because we're going to cut this apart after we put the strips on. And if you haven't gotten adhesive on all of it, you have little spots that don't get adhesive. And then you have little tiny bits of paper that are falling off. So the big important thing is to really get adhesive on the whole piece. So again, I'm using a 6x6 piece of white, and I'm just putting down my first piece of adhesive sheet on there. Now I do have to peel this up. So I like to use my Take Your Pick tool. And I have multiple Take Your Pick tools. I have like 3 Take Your Pick tools because I just like to keep the tools on there. I don't want to change them. They are interchangeable. You could take this off and you could switch it out with something else. But this is my one that I keep. I call it a dental pick. You see that? Maybe if I put, there we go. So I call it a dental pick or a little hook. It's really, really sharp, got a very fine point. And I find that it generally, and I'll probably say this and it won't work tonight, but usually it works pretty well for getting in and getting off the back to the adhesive sheet. Because it is so, so fine. It can get right in there. There we go. So it'll just peel right off. Super easy. There's my adhesive sheet. And now I'm going to come in with my strips. You can see it's shiny now because it's got adhesive on there. I'm a little bit worried. This bit right here got kind of like bunched up. Hopefully it'll be okay. What I want to do is I'm going to take my strips of designer series paper and I'm just going to put these on here. All right. We're just going to add them. So I'm going to try to get them all straight. And the other thing you want to try to do is you want to get them lined up right next to each other as best you can. And I, of course, like to, vary. But I'm choosing ones that are primarily Cajun Craze, Early Espresso, and Basic Beige. So that's kind of the color scheme I wanted to go with. There are some other, there's green and yellow and orange in this paper, but I kind of just wanted to go with these colors. Now, if you don't get it all the way to the edge, or you can see like this one, I got a little bit short on this side and a little long on this side. It's okay. That's going to be all right. And we're just going to keep adding these. Ooh, that one's not quite straight. Let's set that one aside. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I won't. I cut extra strips, so we're going to be just fine with this one. And some of these I think are longer than 6 inches. I kind of used what I had. So Cajun Craze one on. Woo, my cardstock wants to stick with me. That's what I get for using the adhesive sheet. That is one nice thing. If you go the route of using your multi-purpose glue, which is the green glue, the liquid glue, it is kind of nice because you can wiggle. You got some wiggle room. You can wiggle it around a little bit, get it right where you want it. But again, you just want to make sure that you cover the entire space with adhesive. That's the big thing. All right, let's see. So I'm just putting these on, mixing up my patterns. Try not to get 2 things the same right next to each other. Let's add in some more of the Early Espresso. I like those the dark brown lines in there. There we go. See, let's do one of these. This is this beautiful plant that I love in the bigger sheets. It's kind of too bad when it's in these teeny tiny strips, you don't get the plaid look as much, but it's still pretty. So we'll go with that. Let's do another skinny piece. Go, and then we'll do a thick piece. Mixing it up. I like to, this is why I do different widths. I like to put skinny and then bigger one. Just mix it up. I'm going to put another one in this one. This one I feel like, well, no, let's wait for just 1 second on that. Let's put in this one. But this leaf pattern, I feel like it's kind of like my hero pattern of this project. Like it's really got that fall theme. And so I want to make sure I get a little bit more on there. Now we're going to end up cutting some of this off. So we're not going to use our whole piece. It'll be okay. I'm going to come in with a piece of brown, a piece of Early Espresso in there. And let's see, let's put in this plaid. And this is going to hang off the end a little bit. That's okay. We'll cut it down. So there we go. We covered our whole piece. Don't you love this paper? Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. Isn't this paper gorgeous? There are so many awesome papers coming. If you have not already, I do have some paper shares. Well, I will be doing paper shares and ribbon and embellishment shares. And there's a bunch of different options. You can choose what you want. But basically what I do is I get all the papers, I get all the ribbons and all the embellishments. And then I cut them up into like 5 or 8 packs, depending on the paper is usually 8. Embellishments are usually 5. I cut them up and I split them out and I send them to different people. So you get a little bit of everything. It's a great way to do it. And that is open right now. My reservations for my product shares are open right now, but it is going to close on Sunday. So if you want one of those, make sure that you jump in and get that. All right, so now the next step of this is I want to cut this into strips. And the big thing is I want to cut it against the grain of those pattern paper strips. So I'm going to cut it perpendicular to them. I'm going to go ahead and cut these all like a 1/2 inch. We're just going to make some 1/2 inch strips. Again, you could, and a lot of times I do make these different widths as well. You could just not pay attention. I do try to keep these in order. So I'm kind of laying these next to me. You lost me. Did you know you are frozen? Hopefully I unfroze now. The internet's not always the best. So, all right. So we're going to cut these. Hopefully we got it. I cut down the sides and now I am cutting these into strips. We're going against the grain and I'm cutting these a 1/2 inch. All right, so a 1/2 inch wide, and I'm laying these over to the side. I'm keeping them in order over next to me. And I'm just going to keep going. Carol, if you're still frozen, you might want to go out and come back in, which you probably didn't hear because I'm frozen. But if you ever have trouble with things being frozen, go out and come back in. That usually will help you unfreeze. All right. I'm going to keep cutting these all the way down. Now, if you're not already on my mailing list, make sure you get on my mailing list. I send out a free project sheet every Wednesday that you can keep and download. You could print it, put it in a binder that tells you how to do that week's technique or fun fold. All right. Let me see. All right, so my friends who are on, Facebook, it looks like Facebook is having problems and they have died over there. So I'm hoping all my friends who are on Facebook come over to YouTube. Facebook has not been working well for streaming lately. All right, we have all of my strips. Those are your colors. All right, I have all of my strips. They're all laying here, just like this in front of me. So now I have my smaller piece of white cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I am going to take these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these. Now, you could do this. This kind of depends on which way you want your card to go or what you want to do. We can do it like this. And what we'll do is we are going to now adhere these to our smaller piece of cardstock. So let me just make sure this is going to do. Yeah, I think that'll be good. All right. So now I'm just going to come in with some green glue. Come in with some green glue. My strips are here. I'm trying not to get my strips out of order. And now I'm like all like discombobulated because Facebook's having issues. And I get messages on my screen telling me that. All right. So I have some green glue on there, and now we're just going to come in and I'm going to add in my card strip strips, my pattern paper strips. And I'm going to try to get them nice and straight. And when we put these on, what we will do is we're going to stagger them just a little bit. All right, so we're going to stagger these just a little bit. And I probably should have made this just a little bit bigger. That's okay. So when I go to do this next one, I'm going to just move it down a little tiny bit. All right, we're not going to line those pieces back up exactly because that would be silly. Then why did we cut them apart? So we're just going to like stagger it, move it down a little bit each time. All right, so I'm going to kind of go down to here, moved this all down. Now I'm going to start going back the other direction and I'm going to go up. All right, so we went down. Now we're going to come back and go up. And again, just staggering just a little bit. All right, so there's that. Come back up this way. Now, depending on how big your piece is, how wide it is, all that kinds of things, you know, sometimes you can go up and down and up and down. Sometimes you can just go up. You know, it just kind of depends what you want to do. Go ahead and do it like that. And then I think this one, I'm just going to put this one down just a little bit. All right. And you can see I have some strips left over. I told you we'd have extras. So there we go. There are all of my strips on there. And I think I need a little bit of adhesive. Again, you want to make sure you get adhesive all the way to the sides. It's not quite as important at this step because they're going to stay like in their strips. So it's okay. But all right, all those are on there. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to trim this off. All right. We're going to trim this. And this is why sometimes I'll make this piece bigger than what I plan to finish it at, just so that I can kind of cut it down and make the edges really, really line up. We'll send all those bits away. And just come in and slice these all off. All right. There we go. And there's our Bargello background. Isn't that cool? And so easy. Really not hard. Not hard at all. I hope you think it's not hard. I think it's pretty easy. Super fun. So let's finish this into a card now. I'm going to come in and I have my card base, which I'm using Early Espresso for my card base. Now, I do have a couple more samples that I'll show you when I'm all done. It's a lot easier than the name of play. Yeah. Yeah, I think like in quilting, it might be really hard. But in paper crafting, no, not hard. Easy. I'm going to adhere my Bargello piece to this. There we go. Oh, look at that. So pretty. I probably could have cut that just a little bit more. There we go. This would look really pretty if this was a foil layer too. I almost did that. I almost put foil on there. But we don't really have a champagne foil right now, so I would have had to gone like gold. I don't know. It's kind of too bad. Like they came out with the champagne foiled paper, but we don't have champagne foil. So there we go. All right. Super pretty. You made a flag quilt and it was hard. That sounds hard. That sounds very hard. I'm going to stamp some things. So I have just a piece of basic white. And I thought I used basic beige, but then I looked at it again and I think that is crumb cake. Now my crumb cake ink pad is a little bit juicy, and the stamps I'm using, if you look at these are the distinctive stamps. And so they have lots of detail. And so I don't want to get too much ink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a plastic spoon that I keep in my craft room, and I'm just going to push that ink down. I'm just going to push it to one side. And now when I ink this up, hopefully it won't be too inky. So let's see how we do. Ooh, it's pretty. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh. There we go. So we're making a leaf, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment in early espresso. I'm getting like sidetracked. I'm reading your comments. I love this. We're having a quilt discussion. All right, I'm going to ink up my sentiment. It says, your friendship means the world to me. And this I am stamping in early espresso. So we have early espresso sentiment and then a crumb cake leaf. And I'm just going to cut these apart because I'm going to use the dies for the leaf. I'm going to cut out the sentiment. These do have coordinating dies. And wait till you see these. So, oops. There are dies that cut out all of the stamped images. And then there's these two big leaf dies, and they have holes in them. You see that? They have holes in the center. What those are meant that you can do is you can sew through them. You can stitch through those and make them look hand stitched. It's really kind of cool. I'll have a card next month where I did that so you can see it. All right, I think this is the one I want right here. There we go. All right, I'll grab my cutting base, my base plates. I have a top plate someplace. There we go. Let's cut out the leaf. It was a king size, Deborah. Oh my goodness, that's giant. I have done quilting in the way I do crafts. Which is I look at pictures and I read some instructions and then I just go and I do it. And I'm not too fussy about it. And so I have made a few different quilts, but I would not show them to quilters because they're just like sad. They're sad quilts. But I made t-shirt quilts for both of my kids when they graduated high school with all their t-shirts from their whole growing up ages. So I made those. And then when they were younger, I made them, I think they're called rag quilts. Well, not rag quilts, but they're the ones where normally you do it with like a flannel and you sew it so that the seams are on the top and they get all fuzzy. And I did it with flannel on one side in I think it's a log cabin pattern. And I did denim on the other side, all different shades of denim. And they're heavy, but they're really pretty. And what I did is, so when my kids were little, they shared a room. And so I picked out fabrics for each of them that were different, but kind of coordinated. So they're kind of the same colors, but not quite. They kind of go one shade or another, depending on which one. So they're really kind of fun. But again, I would not show them to any actual quilters because I didn't do a very good job. We'll just say that. Things are not straight. I just do it. I'm just a jump in and try things type of person. But quilting takes a long time. All right. I am just cutting around my sentiment really quick, leaving myself a little. I should post pictures of my quilts. Maybe we'll see. All right. Oh, I forgot. I need to cut another piece as well. So I'm going to layer this up. So we're going to layer this on here. And I put this on here and I thought, well, I really like that background, but it feels just a little bit busy. I feel like my sentiment is getting lost back there. So I'm going to pull this in. Jennifer, if you're watching this on Facebook on the replay, it's going to cut off partway through. Make sure you come over to Facebook or come over to Instagram, not Instagram, come over to YouTube and check me out over there because it is going to cut out in just a minute. Facebook is having problems tonight. All right, so I'm using the textured notes dies, and I am going to pull out this textured note die right here. And I'm going to pop this. I'm going to cut a piece of early espresso. And this is just going to be to layer up my sentiment to help it kind of stand out a little bit because I felt like it was getting lost in the background. All right. Roll that one through. our card's almost done. I'm going to add some fun stuff to it, though, too. Throwing things around here. You have a mini catalog and you don't see the elegant pines. Michelle, I think that one is a online exclusive. So we're getting new mini catalog items starting September 3rd, and we are also getting new online exclusives starting September 3rd. So there's a bunch of other stuff that's not in the mini catalog that will be coming as online exclusives. So super excited. So Michelle, it's going to include all of the papers that are in the mini catalog. And it's going to include all of the online exclusives as well. Right now, like I don't have anything to share. Like I don't have pictures of all that. But I do have a YouTube video where I unboxed everything if you want to watch that. And that will show you all of the different pattern papers, but it does come with all of them. All right. So it comes with some of all of the new mini catalog ones and then new online exclusives. So, all right. I adhered my little rectangle there. I put my leaf on top of it. Now I'm going to grab another thing that is, and I want to say that this suite is perhaps an online exclusive. Don't hold me to that though. But one of the things it has in the suite as well is it has old olive and early espresso linen thread. And I am loving this. I am loving this dark linen thread. It is gorgeous. I haven't used the green nearly as much, but this early espresso linen thread, oh yeah. Been using it a ton. So I'm just going to tie a bow in that. And we'll cut off the end. And this, I'm going to just layer right on here with a little bit of the little mini glue dot, which are sticking to things. So these mini glue dots just come on a whole strip in a box. And you just lay your bow or whatever you're putting on down on it and then pick it up and it will take the glue dot with it most of the time. So I'll just add that bow in there with a mini glue dot. It's great for adding bows. And then I'm going to add my sentiment over top of this. I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals for this, of course. If I can find what I'm looking for. I want to try to not put it on that knot. I'm going to try not to put a dimensional right here just because it makes it kind of weird. Kind of funky. So, all right. You'll look at my paper share video. All right. It's an unboxing of the mini catalog and the online exclusives. So, and I have lots of stuff to share. It was good. Good stuff. All right. I'm going to add this on here. So cute. There we go. There's my sentiment. And then one last thing on this card to make it super cute, pushing all the junk out of the way. I have the street dots. Yeah, so these are not part of this suite. They're part of the other autumn suite. So there's another autumn suite called Autumn Toile. And these are part of it. But I love these. Can you see they're like early espresso with swirls of pecan pie. They're so rich and pretty. Gorgeous. All right. I'm going to use my other take your pick tool because I have multiples. I cleaned off the putty end. When you push out the putty, so it has a putty end, which is great for picking things up. And you just turn it to push it out. And you'll notice I turned it and it doesn't look like anything's happening. Stop. It only needs a little teeny tiny turn. It just takes a minute for that putty to start coming out. And you can see it started and it will come out more and more. So don't keep turning. Just turn it a little twitch and then wait. And the putty will come out. I promise. All right. So we're going to add some dots in here. Oh, I want a big one. They're so pretty. They're just glassy and like swirly and good stuff. All right. There we go. So there is our card. Oh, so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, so pretty. All right, let me show you the other ones that I have. That is one. So that was with the gathering together designer shears paper. And then I have one with the perfectly pairs. So isn't that pretty? So cool. I love the way that came together. A good friend is a gift. And then I did one with the Floral Charm designer series paper. And this is from the Charming Day stamp set. And I made it just a little bit smaller. So I feel like this one, where it's the whole thing, it really is a background. And then when you make it a lot smaller, it becomes almost like more of a focal point, right, to the card. I just kind of like that. That was kind of fun. So a little bit different size. You can cut it down however you want. You could cut, the strips different sizes. You can make them all a 1/4 inch, make them all skinny. You could do all sorts of things. I can't wait to see what y'all do with this technique. I'm going to go over, when we're done here, I'm going to go over to my Facebook page. I'm going to post a picture of my sample cards, and I'm hoping that you're going to try out the Bargello technique and that you will go and you'll post a picture of what you have made too. So, Michelle, yes. Right now, to see the paper on the Stampin' Up! Website, you have to be a demonstrator because the catalog, the online exclusives don't go live until next week, Wednesday. You can't see any of that stuff on the Stampin' Up! Website until next week, Wednesday. But you could join Stampin' Up! And then you could see them now. You could add them to your starter kit. But otherwise, you were looking for the, you know what? I'm just going to pull it out and show you. You're looking for the, what is it called? The Elegant Pine Snowflakes. This is so pretty. I don't know if I have it all. Look at that. Oh, that one's the same. No, that one's different. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. So pretty. Look at that. This is my favorite. I love it on that dark secret sea background. This would look really pretty with this too. This would be great with the Bargello technique. So that's the Elegant Pine Snowflake, whatever it's called. All right, friends. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I'll be back next week, Tuesday. We're going to be doing a super sketch, a really fun sketch. And I don't know if I will have exciting news. I have some exciting news coming sometime in September, and I can't wait to share it with you. So watch for that coming. Otherwise, don't forget about my BOGO sale happening now. You can check out all the details for that over on my website under shopping. And then paper shares, sign up for those too because time is running out. And the in color sale ends this week. So lots of stuff is ending this week. Don't miss any of it. All right. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you next week. Have a great holiday weekend.